Hi there, welcome to major breaking news within the Presgrove case. Just recently, the news group known as KSWO News had done some coverage on the case. However, some of Presgrove family members are supposedly responsible for getting the video article taken down. What is going on? Why all of a sudden this? Considering Presgrove's family wants coverage on the case and awareness out there so it doesn't go cold, why would they reach out in particular for this to be taken away so then the general public cannot see it anymore? Well, join me today as we look at the latest answers, responses, conflict, and everything going on, and even compare to some older videos in the past from the points of view of Ashley Chadwick and even the supposed threat by Brooke Bounds Carter in the past. Is there some kind of really dark link going on which could link onto what's going on now about some of Presgrove family members wanting something to be taken down, silenced, removed, eased, reduced the heat levels so it doesn't fall back on them in a negative way? Or could there be other meanings behind it, as in some others have gone behind the family's wishes, gone behind people's backs without permission, and that's why the family are annoyed? Just be sure to stick around today so you understand the full picture. We've got a lot of material to work with, and we're going to go through it bit by bit. We'll take a look at the remaining article video by KSWO News, which talks about Noah's Project, which is a new thing that has been set up, created by the likes of Michael Fazekas, who appears to be a member of the general public, but being quite active and vocal in this case online, on Facebook, etc., kind of like Justin Roy. And KSWO News have done a recent interview with Michael Fazekas, but from the looks of it, Noah's family, or at least some of the members, are not happy with it. The general theme of it all appears to be still in regard to social hosting laws and people needing to be punished and arrested for that so the movement can go forwards from there on. But as we're familiar with, not all of Noah's family members are on board with that. And from their points of view, none of them are whatsoever. But from the points of view of Michael Fazekas and some people in the background, well, Dalen supports it. Noah's sister Madison Rawlings supports it, supposedly. It seems like there's a big divide and major conflict going on. How does it help the case? Well, it isn't at this moment in time, but it's really a defining moment to trying to figure out who really wants justice, but who also wants coverage and who wants balance, having it all and taking it all into perspective. And it seems to be a bit of an issue. That's why I'm here to do my coverage. And for those that are watching live during this premiere, be sure to let me know your thoughts and live reactions in the chat box located on the right-hand side of the screen. If there's any additional context you want to add in, you're welcome to do so. And by the end of watching this video, if you have any additional thoughts or any questions, be sure to drop your comments down below under the video and we can respond back at a later point and see where that goes, and it will help push the video out there so more people get to see this. And of course, if you want to support the channel, there is a PayPal link down below, pinned message in the comment section. And more importantly, if you want to catch up on the latest coverage on this case and where we're currently at, the playlist is top right where the I symbol is. Click up there. With that being said, we should get into it right away. I'm going to play to you the KSWO interview first of all, and then we'll analyze, break it down, then transition on to the next piece. Let's begin.
After the death of Noah Presgrove, a 19-year-old from Comanche, media outlets nationwide caused an outpour of support and calls for justice. 7 News reporter Cole Brumelo spoke with one of Noah's supporters who hails from the Pacific Northwest as he renews calls for action in the investigation. Cole?
Dave, Michael Fazekas has been involved for almost a year, working with members of the family in an effort to obtain justice. Nearly a year after an initial petition was announced calling for charges in relation to Noah Presgrove's death, a new call to action is hoping to ramp up engagement and bring further awareness to his case. Michael Fazekas is from Oregon. He filed the original petition in 2024 after hearing about Noah's death from his wife.
We just kind of got involved. We started getting to know people, becoming kind of attached to the community and a lot of the people that do Noah.
After around 4,700 people signed the first petition calling for an investigation and charges against those who hosted the party, the Presgrove Project is hoping to shine a brighter light on Noah's case.
The ultimate goal would be to get as many people as possible involved in this case so it forces their hand.
Still, he hopes the call of the original petition comes to fruition.
Best result would be charging the people that we know and can provably be convicted of social hosting.
Social hosting being an Oklahoma law, placing responsibility on property owners if there is an accident, injury, or death where those under 21 are drinking. He's hoping these charges could be used to move the case forward. Overall, he says it's time for authorities to speak out.
I think it's time that law enforcement gives an update to the public. You know, I know there's certain things they can't talk about, and that's understandable, but at least say, like, we're not doing this because. We are doing this because. Or we'd like to give you an update, but we really can't. The investigation is ongoing.
So after listening to that, I thought it was best to go on to the case discussion group, because I believe this may have come about before the article, or at least that's how I found out about it, and it appears to link 3 days ago from the case discussion group by Michael Fazekas. There are some links down below, and I did find the website. It's on change.org again in regard to Noah's project, and I'll read that out to you. But let's just see what Michael has to say here first of all. Project launches a grassroots movement seeking answers, accountability, and truth. April 12th, 2025, Oklahoma, USA. A growing grassroots movement, the Noah Presgrove Project has officially launched with one clear purpose: to amplify awareness, demand accountability, and pursue truth in the tragic and highly suspicious death of 19-year-old Noah Presgrove. Okay, so it's been deemed as highly suspicious. Do other people agree with that? Even if it was an accident, still considered highly suspicious? Let me know in the chat. Noah's death on September 4th, 2023, under disturbing and unexplained circumstances in Jefferson County, Oklahoma, has left behind far more questions than answers. Despite official rulings, countless details surrounding Noah's death, including witness accounts, injury patterns, scene inconsistencies, and handling of evidence, have fueled widespread concern, frustration, and public distrust. Okay, so in terms of witness accounts, scene inconsistencies, are there more scene inconsistencies than inconsistencies with witness accounts, like what we've seen with Caden Pressey in recent time and the cracks forming there? The handling of evidence, in what regard though? The black shorts, the supposed highway footage? I wonder. Or no search has been done on the party house and it should have been? What is the project? It's a public campaign driven by community members, independent researchers, and advocates for avocados. No, just advocates, dedicated to keeping Noah's story alive in public view and impossible to ignore. The movement is not just about raising awareness, it's about action, demanding transparency from law enforcement and officials, gathering independent evidence, witness statements, and expert analysis, creating public video montages and personal messages to honor Noah and demand truth, encouraging national media attention to amplify pressure for a real investigation, the road to Noah's truth. As part of this effort, the project will feature a social media campaign titled The Road to Noah's Truth, a video-based series of personal testimonies, questions, and messages from people across the country standing in solidarity with Noah's family and demanding real answers. Standing with Noah's family, and yet part of Noah's family is supposedly responsible for getting one of the news articles or videos taken down, which may have involved Michael Fazekas. I mean, at least the video, what we saw today, that's still public. I don't know if that will be taken down soon. It's a good thing we've archived it in between, because you never know what disappears next. It reads, anyone willing to participate can submit a short video message via the video submission portal, a link there, and to be included in this powerful montage. A short link there. First focus, be focusing our efforts on ensuring accountability for social hosting before the statute of limitations expires this September. You can help by signing and sharing the petition, which will be in the comment section, and there's a QR code. Now, I know people in the past in the community have said whenever Michael Fazekas offers out links, never click on them because it could be very dodgy, bad things could happen. I'm not too sure. I've not clicked on any links myself, and you can find the Presgrove project just by searching on Google if you want to be safe. There is a video there, but we'll try and skip past that. Some comments there. First of all, Tim Daniel, this is the family's opinion on all of this sneaky stuff. That doesn't sound good at all. And we will be acknowledging more of these comments very shortly, probably on this post as well. But before we look at the negatives and the answers behind why a post or a news thing was taken down and why Noah's family isn't happy with Michael Fazekas and the news group, let's take a look at the project first of all to get a deeper understanding. The name of this petition reads, Join Presgrove Project, Be His Voice, by Concerned Citizens, Beaverton, OR, United States. Presgrove Project, photo of him there. Dear supporter, Noah deserves more than silence. You stood with us when you signed a petition demanding answers for Noah Presgrove. Now we're asking you to stand with us again. So I believe the original one back in 2024 with the social hosting rules that being followed up on, and justice there, the social host, the party host being, I guess arrested or apprehended, and justice there, so then things can be moved forward. And I believe in that news article, the KSWO 1 mentioned about Michael Fazekas being responsible behind that. I believe Michael Fazekas was also part of the driving force behind saying how certain Presgrove family members actually supported and signed it, when the likes of Ashley, Chadwick and maybe Robin Smith were saying, well, we don't approve of it. And Ashley was speaking in general, as in, none of us do. I will play you that video as well later, so you can see it from different sides. This fight isn't over, it's just getting started. A movement dedicated to exposing the truth, forcing accountability. I'll be honest with you, forcing accountability does not sound like the correct wording or terminology used when dealing with a case, because, if you force a confession out of someone, it might not stand up as well in court, it may not be allowed. At times, you need to get natural confessions and natural evidence. If things are forced, it might not be a good outcome. Good things come to those who wait, and well, to be honest, in this case, people have waited long enough. But by forcing certain things and responses and actions by people, would it harm the case more so? You can let me know your thoughts below. Making sure Noah's name is never forgotten. I mean, after all this time, the name is still out there. It's just that the case isn't popular. It's unfortunate, but that's just how it goes in life and with other cases as well. It is a bit of a popularity contest. You will see it on YouTube how big channels won't cover this case, but they will cover the latest, hottest trends and topics. Well, with me, I'm an exception because I have been covering this case from June 1st, 2024, almost or over 300 videos made already, and there'll be still some more to come. 3 ways you can take action today. Record a short video message for Noah, say his name, speak your truth, upload your video here, join the fight on Facebook, Presgrove Army page, and then the Presgrove Eyewitness account. Right, so there's no link to enlist on the case discussion one, even though Michael Fazekas posted on that to do with this, but there we go, it is where it is. As for the Noah Presgrove Army page, it's not the official one run by the family. That's by the one called Justice. So, for Michael and them lot to say, working in line with Noah's family, and yet the Facebook pages you're advertising are the unofficial ones, which is rather interesting. Keep showing the petition. This is bigger than just one case, all about standing against silence, against cover-ups, against forgetting. But has this case been forgotten about? It hasn't, not yet. So we're not really fighting for that at the moment, if that makes sense, because it's not gone truly cold. Fighting against cover-ups Is that a fact, or is it just an opinion, how it's worded here? Do we have hard evidence to say this case is truly a cover-up, that there is corruption? Or is it one of those like little rumours and theories which is used with reckless language from the army page and beyond? I wonder. Let's walk this road together. And that's pretty much it. Sign a petition. There we go. Now, let's return back to that Facebook post and see what people have had to say recently. For more context, let's take a look at what Tim Daniel was getting at in regard to the family's opinion. And take in mind, when it comes to the wording of family, that kind of implies all of the family members, or is it just one individual speaking on behalf of other people? That appears to be the case here. I will zoom in just to make it a bit easier for you when viewing. KSWO 7News, 3 hours ago at the time when the screenshot was taken. I can't show you the post by KSW on Facebook because it has been taken down. Okay? But I guess at the time, some people got a hold of screenshots early on, which was very important because, you wouldn't be able to get a hold of it now. So part of the comment thread in regard to this new call to action with Michael Fazekas, the interview and all of that, Ashley Chadwick, the cousin to Noah Presgrove, says, who oversteps? Who just inserts themselves? Why do they want to be so relevant? Have some manners, morals and respect. Reach out prior, beforehand, rather than just willy-nilly. Do your own thing and create a whole deal. Let's not forget Justin Roy and Michael Fazekas were the duo team on that deal. That's how Michael Fazekas became relevant. Old Justin Roy. He loves to do some backhanded secret game, yet we always find out. Seems like Michael Fazekas is using this as if he's such an upstanding guy. Does a criminal background ring a bell? With Michael being a felon, supposedly. When you do sneaky shit, it always comes back on you. I have never followed a case and just decided, let me just create something on my own. I'm sure they won't mind, as in the victim's family. And there is a bit more. The audacity. Additionally, to answer your question of why doesn't some not want this solved, I want this more than anything to be probably solved. So you can clearly see, Noah Presgrove's cousin Ashley Chadwick is not pleased with what Michael Fazekas has done and with what Justin Roy has done previously. I don't know, in regard to where it says, let's not forget Justin and Michael were the duo on that deal. Does that mean in 2024 with creating the change.org social hosting rule law being followed up on? Then that's what led to Ashley's response of, well, we don't approve, advocate it, whilst others claim to do so. Interesting. See, the overall theme of this is Ashley is getting at that Michael Fazekas can appear in that interview as a caring, kind, positive person in the community, but they've got a dark background, they've been in trouble with the police, they're in no position to be talking, and on top of all that, they decide to put their fingers into the pies. They don't reach out to Noah's family first of all, or some of Noah's family members who have issues. They just charge straight on in like a bull in a china shop, and Michael knows best. Michael knows better than the victim's family, so he will do what he thinks needs to be done, regardless of what Noah's family thinks. But is that what the whole of Noah Presgrove family thinks in regards to Michael Fazekas in a negative way? Or is it just what Ashley Chadwick thinks? And it appears to be only Ashley Chadwick talking here. Okay, just putting it into perspective. Now, there should be some more screenshots. We'll get to them. But for now, let's just continue on. Brenda says, I will respect Noah Presgrove's family and not sign this petition. Tim Daniel, the family is very upset about this. Michael, please take this down. Ashley had such strong words about this tonight on KSW News. that they deleted her comments. Wait. Did they really? I'm pretty sure KS removed the entire news piece because Noah's family wasn't aware of it until after the fact. And here we go. We got some more screenshots. Tim Daniel responds, yes, Ashley Chadwick messaged me at midnight last night after seeing my comments to say that she and other family were up late commenting on the news. She is furious to be blindsided along with other family members about a project using the family's name. Yeah, and we saw in the news article where it was like worded and Michael said, oh yeah, we've been working with Noah's family. Yeah, look at how Noah's family reacts here. Doesn't sound like it. And then Tim says, this is a contrary to their strategy as she has spoken about this before, and they ask that people do not circumnavigate their efforts. There is a strategy in place, and having outsiders work against that jeopardizes not only the investigation, but falsely makes it appear they do not fully support Ellie's efforts. This was beyond brazen, Michael. I'm not sure what you were thinking going on the nightly news without the backing of Noah's family. What are your intentions here? Why try and shift the focus from Noah's death investigation into underage drinking? What exactly are your intentions? Noah's family ask that everyone please do not sign this petition. Let's take a look at this screenshot. Once again, from the same KS post before it was taken down. Ashley Chadwick says, Michael Fazekas can kiss my ass. Kristen responds, wonder if they talked to the family first, all the way from Oregon. Did you know Noah, Michael? I mean, just kind of got involved. Weird. But this is the thing. You take it from this perspective of members of the general public, how they act and speak on behalf of the victim's family, as if they are part of the family or part of a close friend. They get super involved and very focused and full on. Right? It could be considered as a bit questionable. Same happened in the Dylan Rounds case when a couple of individuals had almost like gay obsessions with the victim Dylan Rounds and pushing their own LGBT agenda onto Dylan to satisfy their needs and false claims made. And that was damaging to the case, and it even damaged the victim's family and the parents as well along the way. Why do members of the general public get so overly attached to particular cases, maybe more so when the victim is a white male? So based off those patterns and what I've seen in the past, let's acknowledge what Ashley Chadwick says below. Kristen, y'all just be interviewing anyone what kind of just gets involved. And Ashley Chadwick says, I guess it's a damn free-for-all. The amount of cases in America, I guess it's a hobby for some, just to insert themselves to cause more turmoil as if families aren't going through enough, seeking for answers. Now, when it comes to people through social media and platforms, some may overstep the marks and boundaries because they want to appear on top, first-hand information and intel to get the views, to grow, to outdo competitors, rivals that are covering the case. But when it comes to those who are not creators or influencers and it's just like on Facebook, what other motives are going about? Why would they want to step in too far? Is it because they just truly believe that they know best in a delusional way? Or is it because they want to cause a bit of darkness? Furthermore, there is another one here, which might go a bit more. It does. Different background colour, but that could just be because it's not on dark mode. No big deal. Tim Daniel to Kristen. Was the family not aware of the Presgrove project? I know Ashley had already made a video explaining in detail why this would jeopardise the case and why they did not support this. I guess the social hosting rule, that thing. Pam, no, the family had no idea. This has been an ambush on them. Wow. Tim, this is truly awful. Do not sign this petition, people. It is not approved by Noah's family. Sounds like. And Ashley Chadwick, in response to Tim, zero, nada, zilch. What is the Presgrove project? That's new to me too. And not too pleased with those emojis. So for the victim's family, or at least certain family members, to not even be informed about it, and random people in the public eye, stepping on in, it just seems reckless. Lisa says, signed. Denise, yeah, I wouldn't have signed that unless I knew for a fact that the family was okay with it, and supposedly they're not. So supporting the family is supporting Noah. They don't want justice. And that's what the interesting thing is. You get that strong divide of some will see what like Michael is doing as a good thing and true justice. And if anyone goes against it, including the victim's family, that'll be deemed as, oh, you don't want justice, you're trying to cover maybe something up. It could be seen as a suspicious thing. Oh, you're finally getting what you wanted, coverage and beyond, and now you don't want it. It can go both ways. We'll try and get to it later. Beth Carr, let's all help out. Please sign and share it. Uh-oh. Michael Fazekas with the link there, but you don't have to click on the link. You can go elsewhere. Michelle Logan, signed and shared. We are now taking a look from the viewpoint of the ARC page. Now, it does say this content isn't available at the moment. That's actually in regard to the KSWO post, article, video, whatever you want to call it. Whilst, yes, the other video or piece of coverage does exist, thankfully, what we looked at today. For a bit of context, the other piece does not. Now, I don't know how much different it was, whether there's any additional information, but it must have been bad enough for the family to want it taken down. But what does the victim's family think of the other video that still remains public and actually shows Michael being interviewed? How long will that stay around for? Will it or not? Down below, there might be some additional screenshots and other points of views. That's why I want to acknowledge it now. We've got all the comments turned on, and we'll just try and glide through it. And then we can share it from Ashley's point of view, and then tie it in with BBC. And then I'll give you my rough conclusion. Brenda, we all want justice for Noah, but not at the expense of going against his family's wishes. I understand the passion in seeking answers, but doing a news interview without Noah's family's consent and calling out LE is not the way. Of course, this is just my opinion. Yeah, it just seems like common sense. Like, there'll be many cases out there which may not quite reach or hit social media to the same magnitude as the cases of what we listen to and look at online. So when it comes to the unpopular cases or the ones where there's no big song and dance about it online, who's really working on the case and who's kind of involved in trying to help? It'll be the victim's family, friends of friends, the police and whatnot. And as for the general public, well, they wouldn't really know what's going on. And sometimes it's best that way, and other times it's needed online because it feels like it's going nowhere. So people reach out for a helping hand, people reach out for a voice and a platform. But that can go wrong, and that's what's happening here. That the themes and patterns of others, people thinking that they know best, members of the general public stepping in against the family's wishes, is the same exact thing that happened in the Dylan Rounds case. And I can add that on later. Joyce, I agree about this. They should have been notified. Noah's family seems very upset by this. And it's once again that supposed pattern and theme of that Noah's family isn't informed about everything, that someone like Caden Pressey and maybe Jack Newton receive intel and information from other partygoers with additional material or evidence or footage like the side-by-side rollover After Effects, or from Jack's point of view when it comes to, who was it now? One of the police guys. And it's just like, well, why aren't the family getting the same level of communication? Why is there a bit of a divide there? It should be the family towards the top. They are the victims' family, so they should be entitled to some more coverage than other people. Well, yeah, there's that. Brenda, I understand why they're upset. They didn't deserve this added frustration. KSWO didn't do their due diligence either. They should have been, should have reached out. I'm guessing they took down the news on this, technically. And then Denise says, yes, I was speaking with a close friend of the family and they were working on getting it removed, and that was around 10:30. I'm glad they got that accomplished. And then Pam there with a screenshot, which is what we've already seen, so we don't need to click on that one. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. And then there's another one there. Apologies about the little jump cut there. Don't know if you noticed. What unfortunately happened was, at this current moment in time on Facebook, when looking at some of these posts and clicking on the screenshots there, it's glitching out and it keeps giving an error message and the screen goes kind of blank. So unfortunately I can't click on it, but I will try and read it out to you. We did look at the bit above about Ashley Chadwick, about people inserting themselves and knowing better than the family. Jan Fiorillo says to Christine, wonder if KSWO reached out to any of Noah's next of kin who have rightfully been leading the charge for finding truth and justice for their loved one. Now Presgrove to inquire as to the thoughts about this man from Oregon and his project. Has KS or this man from Oregon considered that Noah's next of kin may have strategy in place that this project doesn't align with, or in the very least, was anyone considerate enough to have a discussion with Noah's next of kin in an attempt to get their input and feedback, blessing before it being made public? Brenda, no, I haven't seen any update about how the family feels about the social hosting petition, which is why I made a similar comment an hour ago. Scroll to find it. Yeah. So as for the social hosting petition, Ashley shared her words, but that was in the past. Has it changed since? Probably not, based off the reaction to the Michael Fazekas situation. And then there is a comment thread here, but if I click on view replies, the screen fades out and it just says error. So unfortunately I can't click on it. But the screenshots within this thread are basically what we've already seen, so it is okay. Kelly says they broke federal laws and should be held accountable, period. Noah's name is being brought back to life after months and months of silence. For that alone, I'm glad to see this news report. Noah will not be forgotten. Yeah, but the family don't seem too pleased with the situation. Tim, well, they say any publicity is good, I guess. I just hate it for the family to be caught off guard. But maybe you are right. More news time is never bad. Maybe short term, this extra news coverage is good, but with projects going on, if ultimately they're long term, would it have long term impacts on the case? Because the long term factors are always more important than the short term stuff. Denise, well, it would be the right thing, but they actually owe us nothing. They only owe the family, and if the family wants to in turn share, then that's their choice. But I'm sure if there was a vicious murderer out there, they would definitely let people know. That's why I feel there is nothing nefarious, and that's my opinion. Tim, my understanding from the video Ashley made was they do not support this petition at all, and it sounds like they incorrectly say Michael is working with the family in regard to the news report by KS. Why were they not interviewed? I don't think they are backing this. Has anyone heard one way or another? The family said that this would cause problems and a petition could cause issues in Noah's case. The family did not want the local level LE to be brought back in, as this would do. Why don't divert resources from Noah's case for simply a $500 fine? Please check with the family before backing this. And then there's a video there. We will play the video itself shortly. I'll just finish off the comment thread here. Michael needs to stay in his lane and let the family dictate what is said to the news. He has zero business doing this. We all want justice for Noah, but he is not the one to get behind in that pursuit. It's a bad look for sure, says Andrea. Brenda, it's great that Noah's case has gotten recent news coverage. I'm just not sure how his family feels about the social hosting petition. I guess they're not too pleased, or some of them aren't. I thought the family did not support that petition. Is it a different one he's putting up? I'll go check. It seems to be along the same line of stuff, if not more and stronger, like going against possibly the police. Pam, please see the screenshots I posted in the thread. Yeah. They still feel absolutely the same way. They're totally against it. There we go. And just to revert back to an old archived piece of footage, let's see what Ashley Chadwick had to say in the past on TikTok in regard to the supposed Michael Fazekas 2024 change.org petition for the social hosting laws and follow up on the party host being punished.
One being and starting off with is the petition. With the petition, we as family were not asked or notified about it, any of the such, when it all first started. We kind of learned about it through like people sharing on Facebook. And if people were reading it in its entirety, you would notice that it has said that they're wanting this to get brought back to the Jefferson County and having Jefferson County take over the social hosting and charging the party host for serving alcohol to minors. So when it comes to that specific charge, that is a one charge. It is not for each individual minor or underage drinking, whichever. So basically, if this was to follow through, they wouldn't even be in jail for very long. The party host has retained an attorney, and if it's a good attorney, they would act swiftly. So you're looking at maybe just merely hours in jail, if anything. So basically, it'd be just a slap on the hand. So what would that mean moving forward? Not really anything. It would just be, okay, so got it done, it's over with. That's pretty much it. So we don't condone in this. This isn't something that it's a no. Like, it's just a no. We all have not signed it. We have not pressed it. We have not pushed this because we don't agree with it. So there's that.
Hopefully that was enough to re-jog your memory at the time of when it went down. I did do some coverage of it myself at the time on my channel. If you want to see the full video, it'll be somewhere in the playlist, top right corner of the screen. And if it is still available on Ashley's TikTok page, even though it can be difficult to find because TikTok isn't exactly organised when it comes to trying to search for a specific video. But I think there was actually more to it about other stuff as well. But I didn't include it at the time because it was, I think it might have been drifting away from the social hosting part in regard to everything that was going down at the time. Now, yeah, you could say there is one pattern and theme that has emerged today, and we'll acknowledge it. I mean, to be honest, I'll acknowledge it right now so I don't forget. And that is, whereas others can say, well, the family isn't pleased with KS, the news show, that the family aren't, happy and frustrated with Michael Fazekas, member of the general public, going against the family's wishes, going behind their back in a sneaky way, etc. Well, the only problem I would say, and it's just being realistic, is that it's only one person doing the talking, and they're regarded as Noah's whole family. But is it the immediate family or an extension? When you hear it from different family members all saying the same thing, that's what you want to see. But this is just one family member speaking on behalf of the whole of the Presgrove family. Not that it's always a bad thing, but it's nice to see it from other family members' points of views, like whether it be Robin Smith, whether it be Victor Presgrove, whether it be Deborah Smith or Casey Smith, Madison Rawlings, Dalen Presgrove, etc., etc. More of those people, if they all made a post or a comment, then it would just reinforce it more collectively as a family that they are not happy with what's going on. And I only bring this up because in the past, when it came to the whole social hosting, well, Ashley and maybe Robin were speaking as if they don't approve of it, but the family in the background, when they've had conversations, they don't agree with it either, and they all think in line with one another. But then you had maybe Michael Fazekas or some other people on the sideline, maybe Justin Roy as well, pushing it that no, but there is proof that Dalen signed the petition, that maybe Madison signed the petition. I can't remember it properly, but I do remember doing coverage about it, and it might have shown it somewhere, like on the website, and it might have mentioned a name saying this person backs it, that person backs it. Can't remember for certain, but if anyone else does remember, leave a comment down below. if it was true, at the time at least, that some Presgrove family members signed the petition, but then you had Ashley Chadwick wording it as if no one has signed it, but then clearly that's incorrect. And then it would mean that there is a breakdown in communication with the Presgrove family, an inner conflict, an inner divide amongst what's going on. And that can apply like right now in the moment, that this news program has done what they've done. Michael Fazekas joining on in. Ashley Chadwick not happy with it. But what about from the horse's mouths of the other family members? Do they think exactly the same? Or is it like how it was in the past? We've got a representative spokesperson within the family that does most of the talking and other people in the background don't. But what are the chances that some family members in the background may actually support what Michael is doing if they have supported it back in 2024? And I also base it off an external example, just based on the clothing possessions of Noah Presgrove. I don't think we heard it directly from the mother Casey Smith, but more so a ex-boyfriend, which was a bit random, that claimed to have items of Noah's clothing, and it was police handed it to Casey, then Casey handed it out, such as to that ex-boyfriend of all people. And if that's true, if it was true that items and possessions of Noah was returned back to the Presgrove family, well, clearly not all of the Presgrove family are on the same wavelength or in communication with the same knowledge, because still to this day, Robin Smith, the aunt, and Ashley Chadwick believe that no items have been returned with the exception of the black shorts. That other stuff is still missing, never returned back. And yet if you've got certain Presgrove family members that have received items back, well then they're not communicating with their other family members. So then there is a divide, there is a breakdown in communication there. And like how we said, if there's a breakdown here, fractured, well then where else could it apply to? So that's what I'm trying to suggest in this situation. Is there any breakdown in communication where it's very evident that Ashley Chadwick isn't pleased with this news and what's happened or the project, but are any family members in the background secretly in agreement with it and think it's okay and a good idea? You let me know your thoughts down below, because all I've seen is from what Ashley Chadwick has said, a family member. That's just so we can get that full clarity and maybe additional responses. And who knows, that may show up in the live chat as well. Maybe Robin Smith may show up or anybody else. And if you want to share your points of views, what you truly think, well then you can do that down below. To refer back to that TikTok video from back in 2024, I believe it's to do with double jeopardy or something, but case investigation open ongoing. This separate thing, social hosting laws, could overlap, could get in the way of the current strategy. And is that a good idea? People in the background may be passionate to push and push and push, but if it causes more harm to the case than good, is it worth it? So that still applies to this day. You can understand why certain family members wouldn't be too pleased with this project, this additional push, because is it overshadowing all the work in progress that's been made up until now in the background? You never know. And, you know, if the family have a strategy in place, right, you should be able to believe or hope to believe in it, and right, it will work out. See, this is where it kind of crosses over with the Dylan Rounds case. The Dylan Rounds case, you had the family, they were doing their own searches. At one point, they reached out to the general public for like public searches to be done. Then later they said, no, we don't need you anymore. Some people took it as offence because of how it was worded, a bit cold, relied on the police from then on, then did some private searches later. But on and off, you had members, locals, general public who didn't completely know Dylan Rounds, heard about him briefly, saw him here and there. And they believed that they knew best in what they should do, despite what the family wanted them to do or not to do. And that was, for example, Lance Kelly, also known as earthworm infotainment, an individual that with time was supposedly exposed for bad treatment towards his wife, Kimber, and trouble with or custody issues or something with the kids, all very messy, and supposedly abandoning animals out there in Montello, Nevada, all kinds of wild random things going on down the line onwards. But at the time of when it seemed somewhat stable, you had Lance Kelly and then another local called Ty Corbin, a bit of a whiny individual that looked like they were dragged through a hedge backwards and went on a bit of a rant, looking like Thanos, losing one's stones and marbles, calling me out with childish words, which was a little bit pathetic and unnecessary. And then beyond that, he was also searching. And, you know, when it feels like there's no progress, not much is happening, some people may get easily pleased, and other people may see it as, well, they're our saviours, they're doing more than you, Raf, they're doing more than this and more than that. Yeah, they might be doing more, but are they doing more good or more bad to the case? I might only do so much, but I'm not causing as many problems as other people. And those other people, such as Earthworm Infotainment, Lance Kelly, and Ty Corbin, searching about for Dylan Rounds. And at a point in time, the family of Dylan, victim's family, said, can you please stop? Don't continue. We've got searches in place. We're mapping it out. We're ticking it off the list. We've got private searches. We don't want interference. We don't want people recklessly walking about because it could harm the case. It could contaminate evidence. Certain evidence could be damaged if you're looking about, poking about and digging holes. And that's what Ty Corbin did at one point and some other people, and Lance Kelly. So that level of recklessness, and then other people supposedly trespassing on the property of the grain shed without the wishes of the family and beyond. That it was like the general public and the locals felt that they knew what's best, that they knew better, not going against the wishes of the victim's family. Did it do much good in the end? No. Did those people find Dylan Round's body? No. Not a chance. But during the time of when the searches were being done, were general public, viewers, audience members online very supportive? Absolutely. And if you questioned it or you went against it, you're considered a very bad human and you don't want this to be found, you don't want that to be solved, you must be in on it, etc., etc. So you can see the attitudes, you can see how it went there, you can see the recklessness, and in terms of damage towards the case, kind of slowing things down and maybe getting people preoccupied with other stuff, family having to deal with these others. Because like when the family said, can you stop searching the likes of Earthworm and Ty Corbin separately, we're like, screw that. We're going to push on harder individually, because they had issues themselves between each other at one point, went separate ways, and there was drama there. But they were pushing and pushing, especially when the family said, stop. They felt, well, that must be a sign to keep on going, and maybe even harder than before. So sometimes when you met with a level of resistance, or people see it as a level of resistance, and they think, right, what's the best thing what we can do? Push even harder than what we did before and just keep on going. Sometimes that could be considered good, resilient, determined, and other times it could be considered reckless, irresponsible, and going against the family's wishes. And if there's a strategy in place and you're going against it, you might be undoing quite a lot of the work that's been implemented all this time in the background. So the same could apply to the situation with Presgrove. Of course, you want movement and action. Something needs to be done, but it needs to be by the right person, or at least how it's conducted to start off with is done above board, and it seems like that's not quite the case. So it will be interesting to see what happens next, because with this added, when you call it resistance, this added trouble, it kind of just slows down progress in the case. See, certain actions and behaviour by people may not directly or physically always harm the case or legally, but they might just slow down the progress, because then the family or others are having to deal with this side stuff to try and resolve it, or to get it closed or shut down or resolved in some way. It diverts attention elsewhere. See, I know people could say that towards me, that when I'm doing my coverage and then there's drama and conflict, that when I get dragged into that, when I get sucked into it, when I start covering that, I'm drifting away from what's most important, the case itself. But obviously when it comes to me, who is a hybrid catalyst, I can do both at the same time, or at least make 2 separate videos in the same day, defending myself, documenting stuff, and still covering the case. So it doesn't slow me down. It is all under control, but it won't always be for other people. And that's why it can get a bit sticky. Now, the only alternative point to highlight, which is a bit of a darker outlook, but it needs to be acknowledged just for that balance, is that some people are feeling that whilst what Michael is doing isn't a good thing, and other things in the past as well, and the social hosting, it could be a bit troublesome, that at least news companies, and it's receiving some kind of attention in the case once again, because when's the last time it was done? Been quite some time, hasn't it? So that's something at least, that there's finally more coverage and it's being put back out there so the general public can hear about the case and maybe research into it to keep it alive. And those people in the community are thinking, whilst that's good, the family are wanting it taken down, and yet the family want the coverage on the case to stay warm. They're kind of going against themselves. They're kind of contradicting themselves in that sense. Do they want certain things to be taken down? Do they want certain stuff not to be followed up on? Do they not tick or advocate for something such as the social hosting laws because they don't want certain partygoers or party host to get punished? Because then that could trigger some old threat in the past if it comes to losing any more children or kids in some way, losing them upon this earth in life, or just losing them in proximity, being taken away, arrested. But if that does ever happen again, that dark secrets will be revealed, which Noah's family does not want to hear or see. Does that ring a bell in some way? Is there some kind of darkness going on? Who knows? I'll reiterate it once again from the original post, just to make it a bit clearer for you. But I know previously people have tried applying it to Donna Bond, where Donna Bond was against the dark side, or against, was it Carter Combs or something? And then was it a protection order or some court documents thing going on between Donna Bond and one of the Combs girls? Bit messy. But then at some point was it dropped? I think originally, because I did cover it on my channel from my memory, that the whole reason why it all came about is because Donna Bond was posting or saying stuff on Facebook which wasn't exactly true or somewhat damaging, and then attempts were made to delete it afterwards, and it was found out, and then that was seen as a bad thing, what Donna Bond has done. But then time passing on, did they get punished? No. Was it dropped? Maybe. Whilst Donna Bond was against or being attacked supposedly by dark side, but nowadays getting on well with the dark side, getting on well with Brooke, and people in the community, maybe on the case or army page, were saying, wait, why has Donna Bond changed sides? Why are they on the same page now? What's going on there? Has Donna Bond changed her outlook, her behaviour, because of benefiting, or because of being threatened or blackmailed? Some kind of emotional manipulation going on. That's basically what people elsewhere were suggesting, hinting at. Does that apply again here, but towards the likes of Ashley, Chadwick, or any of Noah's family members with the whole social hosting laws? Well, before we get any deeper, let's at least look at the post by Brooke from the past. Here we are, so I'll just read it out to you. Brooke said at the time, "You don't think she doesn't have as much to lose?" I guess that's in regard to Stevie Howard. Let's take a step back. What if the kids of hers or close to her truly didn't have anything to do with it, Noah's death? Y'all are dragging them through the fire. I think Stevie Howard is handling it a hell of a lot better than I would. She has lost a child. You think her heart doesn't break for Noah? He was extremely close with them. She wouldn't wish that on anyone. She wants this case solved as much as the family of Noah Presgrove does. there is a hell of a lot more information on this case and the family that isn't being said out of respect for the family, I would back off. Now, who's that in regard to? It has been interpreted as like a threat towards Noah's family, but not directly from Brooke, but more so Brooke giving a warning on what someone like Stevie Howard could be capable of if backed against the wall and if losing another person, taking other people down with them. It says, I would back off. You push a mama bear so far into a corner and she won't have anything to do but start swinging back. And when I say that Stevie Howard has stuff that I assure you Noah's family doesn't want to come out, I would just keep my mouth shut. This still stands strong till this day. If there are certain Noah Presgrove family members that are aware that Stevie Howard has dirt on them, is that why some family members are adamant to not push the social hosting charges? Because they fear that darkness, dirt will be revealed, which will tarnish the reputation of some of Noah's family members. It just makes you think, because granted, unfortunately, we never got the full context of this conversation post and thread on Facebook because no one bothered to do that. Maybe because the people that got a hold of these screenshots were trying to limit it as much as possible to maximise how threatening it appeared. But, you know, where it's highlighted in yellow, I just want to know your thoughts about it. That Stevie Howard has stuff that I assure you Noah Presgrove's family doesn't want to come out. Why doesn't Noah Presgrove's family not want it to come out? How bad is it? And what is it about? Noah Presgrove, some of Noah's family members, bad things that they've done in life? Does that still ring till this day as like someone holding power over another person, that, you know, you push those social hosting charges, you get my daughter or one of my daughters taken away from me. I've already lost a child. If I lose another one, I'll have no choice but to fight back and publicly reveal what some of Noah's family members have got up to at some point. And they don't want that. So the best thing that you can do is not push for social hosting charges and get things taken down and be outraged so you can protect yourself. It's an alternative way of looking at it, but it does make you think. Hopefully you found this video of use. If you do want to rewind back to catch up and make sure you've not missed out on anything, feel free to do so. If you do have any questions, additional thoughts, leave them below. If you've got any updates or context, leave your comments below. And I can always do a future follow-up update video if needed. But at this moment in time, it seems like, once again, things are tense between Noah's family and some members of the general public online. Will there be another war like how there was before, leading up to the 1 year anniversary of Noah? I guess time will tell. And you know, Justin Roy's been kind of quiet, but we'll see what he thinks about the situation as well, maybe in the comments section. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it. I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.